Hi everyone, this is Miss AG here, and today we're going to be talking about inking traditionally drawn things. First thing I want to go over is the kind of marker you use, including the professional kinds. And any of these are good. I know that money is sometimes an issue for some people. If you have to, you can get a good ballpoint pen for your inking. This is the kind that will make a decent mark without bleeding too much. Sharpies or just permanent markers, try to get the fine tipped ones. They will bleed some, but not as bad as these. And I'll talk about if you have to use these later. These bleed a lot more. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, you have different sizes with these. And when you're doing these, sometimes you want to vary your line thickness. So it helps to have a variety of them. I'm going to go ahead and use, I'm going to be using this 0.5 for this video, is the size. And when you're using these kind of markers, you're going to want to start at corners of your drawing, or just edges and points and stuff. And you're going to want to go, keep your movements controlled and don't press too hard if you're worried about the paper bleeding. And when you pick up your ink, if you put it back down in the middle, you're going to get a dot. If you draw a line and then you put it down in the middle, you're not going to get a very clear marking there. So you're going to want to try to keep to the point, not pick it up in the middle of like long lines. So I'm going to work on these edges and just go down and up and just trace this along. Go up here and we're just going to trace it down to here, and it's okay if it doesn't match up perfectly. Alright, so we have that going. Let's talk about if you want to do different line thicknesses. A good time to use the line thickness is if you have an edge that's kind of raggedy or just not quite smooth. You can decide to make that line a little thicker by going over with a marker that's a bit thicker. And I just messed that up. That's okay. I'll just fill that in a bit real carefully. So then you have a bit thicker there. If you want to go even thicker than that, you can pick up a much thicker marker and then just trace it. I'm using alcohol ink, by the way. And so that dries a lot faster. You don't have to worry so much about it smudging or saturating the paper in wetness and then being more fragile and susceptible to tearing. When you're using these thicker ones, you're probably going to want to practice. If you press lightly, the line is a little bit thinner. If you press thicker, it gets thicker. If you press heavier, it gets thicker. So you're going to kind of want to practice controlling that if you want to do like some thin to thicker lines in the middle. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep going. I'm going to grab my 0.5 again. We're going to trace pretty much the rest of this real quick. And we're just going to go smooth and unhurried. And don't worry too much if it's a bit shaky. If you mess up, and you can always go back and make the line a little bit thicker. And we'll go down here, down around. Now, if you pick up, I'm going to show you again once more. If you pick up and you go down again, try to start it just above. You'll still get a bit of a mark. And sometimes you just can't help it. And draw this one down. Draw this one down. Now let's work on the detailing work if you want. You can get a smaller marker. This is a 0.3. I'll be doing it just to trace these, and then if I mess up any lines, I can thicken the areas and stuff that I have to. So let's go down the nose curve, a little bit of a point. So I'm going to pick it up here and then draw down. Draw the nostril in. I'm going to probably fill that in a bit. And I didn't draw it in my initial sketch, but I'm going to add a little nostril line there. I have her lips. I'm going to make a small adjustment on my initial pencil here. and go down and bring this out and up, and then we'll have a bit here that's colored in. Okay, and then we're gonna have these eyelashes. Just fine detail, keep your lines as smooth as possible. I don't have the best control having to lean over all the way like this, but this is okay. We're gonna do this up here, and then down into this line, and make sure not to cross that line and create an extra dot. We'll go down over here, draw in the pupil, and draw this up, and this up. There we go. Eyes are a little bit off. I'm going to draw this line out a bit more. I'll be coloring these all in anyways. It's okay. It's a bit ununiformed. Drawing the eyebrows. Whoops. Need that a bit higher. That's okay. And draw that like that. Okay. Oh, and we're forgetting one of these pupils. I mean these irises. Draw that in like that. Okay, so now you have everything more or less inked. Before we work on like the line thickness and stuff, let's take a minute and just erase all the pencil lines that are still left. Okay, so now we have our inked drawing and we can see some issues already. I'm going to go ahead and get a thicker marker out. It's a 0.8. It's a little bit thicker. I'll work on these eyes. You can see I did her iris is a bit different, or a different size. So I'm going to make this one thicker on the outside and make this one thicker on the inside. And this will even out the eye size a bit. I'm also going to bring this down and color it in a bit. And these, she's got sleepy eyes now, but that's just fine. Okay, we'll go ahead and draw in a little pupil area. There she goes. And let's go ahead. Now we have this line. This whole line was a bit shaky. I'm going to turn my paper, make it a little easier on me. Hopefully that doesn't go out of frame. And I'm going to go ahead with this thicker one and just smoothly go over it. And we're going to do this again. And once you start doing these thicker parts, you can pick it up and put it down more in these thicker lines where it won't create that odd dot. Okay, and we're gonna bring this and shape this a bit. I want this to come up and thicken out right under here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do that. You can get a thicker marker if you wanna have a little bit more of a uniform line. So we're going to have some thicker lines here. I tend to make the lines thicker where the shadows are going to be. So under her chin, I just made that a little bit messed up. That's okay. We can fix it right here. She'll just have a nice thick under the chin line. And we'll have a thick one here. I'm going to grab a thicker marker than this to do some of these really bold ones. This was the BS. And just on the outer lines here, the hair, let's do this here. We'll do one here. Okay. And then I'm going to work on these eyes a bit. Try not to lean too far into the shot here while I get a closer look at what I'm doing. I would have liked this a bit in more here, not come to this point. If I really hate it, I can take some white out and mark that up. But for now, we're just going to leave it, and we'll, this is just an instructional video. We're not too worried about how perfect it comes out. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a thicker line under the eyebrows here. Okay. Under the nose goes down, and this was a bit thin, and the thinner it is, the more shaky it'll look. So I'm going to go ahead and thicken this line up a bit here, and then take that big BS marker I had and put it a little bit thicker under the nose here, and work on the lips. Her lip shape's a bit unperfect, so we're just gonna work it like that. Give her a bit thicker lip there. Okay, in general, you get the idea. You could work more on which ones you wanted to perfectly make thick and which ones you didn't. I want to go over real quick the kinds of paper. This right here is just typical sketch paper, suitable for ink, pastel, crayon. And you want to always get, if you want to keep your drawings, you want to get acid-free and linen-free. It just makes it more archival, which means it won't yellow in time and exposed to light. If you have to use computer paper, I have a pre-sketched drawing here. I want you to be aware that some computer paper will bleed more. It's kind of like the paper towel idea. The more absorbent the paper is, the more the inks will bleed. So you just kind of want to probably, if you can't get the nice markers and you have to use Sharpies, you might want to try to work for paper that doesn't bleed as much. So if you have to use Sharpie, it's the same general idea. You just go as smooth as you can over your lines. Okay, if you want to vary your line thicknesses, what you can do is you can have your thin ultra fine point and just fine point, and then go in with the thicker marker like that. The next step what you would do is color this in. Okay, I hope this video helped some people. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.